Okay. Okay, let's begin. So, welcome everyone to the Canadian Immigrant web conference series presented in partnership with Access Employment. My name is Ramya Ramanathan. I'm the editor of Canadian Immigrant magazine, and I'm joined by my colleague Laura Jackman, who manages marketing for the magazine. We're thrilled to have you join us today. I can see that the participants are still streaming in. For those of you who are joining a little later, this is also being recorded and posted on our YouTube channel and on our website. So this industry-specific web conference for internationally educated professionals is about those looking to start your business in Canada. Please note that this will be recorded and posted on our website to watch for those who cannot attend in person. So hold on for a second. Let's just wait for people to enter the room. Okay, perfect. Before we get started, we wanted to share a short video from our sponsors. Laura, could you kindly play the video? Thank you. So we're excited to talk about hiring trends and the job market today. And our first speaker is Jamoya Smith, Manager of Employment Services, who will be speaking on the hidden job market. So welcome, Jamoya. We're thrilled to have you here. So let me just say, if we have any questions, if you have any questions for Jamoya, you can type them in the chat or the Q&A buttons, and we will answer them at the end of her presentation. You can also email us at info@canadianimmigrant.ca. So Jamoya, please go ahead.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Ramya, for the introduction, and such a pleasure to be here as well. So I'll get started by first sharing my screen. And Ramya, can I just get a quick confirmation from you that you're able to see my screen? Okay, and can I confirm that this is the presenter screen and not my notes?
Yes, it is.
Okay, excellent. Okay, so today we're going to talk a little bit about job search skills, and also I'll touch a bit on the topic of the hidden job market. So that's a terminology that is passed around or a recent terminology in the employment sphere, the concept of a hidden job market. So we'll talk a little bit about that as well. We'll talk about some strategies that you can also use to accelerate your job search skills. I also discuss a few ways in which Access Employment can help you with that as well, whether you're here in Canada already or you're looking to come to Canada. So here at Access, we have a program known as Unemployment Services or Employment Ontario Services. And what we do is we pair individuals who come to our site, whether this is online or in person, with a consultant, an employment consultant that is in charge of helping you with your job search journey. And what these consultants do is they provide you with one-on-one counseling and also a customized action plan. This action plan typically involves you creating a resume, creating a cover letter, and anything else that you need to accelerate your job search journey as well. One of the other supports that they provide as well is ongoing job search support and connection to employers until you're hired. So that means that you are together in that job search journey until you get hired, you get your offer letter, and you're starting your employment. We also offered retention services, and retention services, this typically happens after you're hired or after you've found sustainable employment. And this involves essentially just connecting with your employment consultant to make sure that you have the tools that you need to continue to be successful at work. So not feeling like you're alone in the first 3 months of your job, and oftentimes the first 6 months of your job. And sometimes we also offer retention services for 12 months. So we kind of hold your hand along the process and we help support you. So you're very successful and you feel supported in the job search community. And of course, every client that get registered at Access Employment also becomes an Access alumni, which means that you are still within the Access network and we still engage you for different events or different services. You might be able to come back as well to become a mentor to other job seekers who are going through that process and also helping them with their job search journey as well. So just about our employers. So Access is connected with a network of over 2,300 employers, and this is across Ontario and sometimes outside of the province of Ontario as well. Most of our employers are engaged throughout our programming at Access, so not just our employment services program, but also within our bridging programs. So Access has quite a bit of bridging programs that are more sector specific and are geared towards helping individuals get certification or upskilling in specific areas that will advance their employment opportunities as well. One of the things that we help you with at Access, regardless of what program you decide to go into, we truly do not believe in the one-size-fit-all model. We've created programs across the board, across sectors that really just hone into your previous experience, whether that's experience you've had here in Canada or experience that you come from back home. So one of the things that we help you with is practicing your interview skills, and we do that through a process called mock interviewing. So as the word suggests, mock, we just mimic the interviewing process, and we allow you to go through a series of question and answers that would be similar to the question and answers that you would be asked in a regular interview. We also do speed mentoring events. So if you've ever heard of the concept of speed dating, it's the same thing, just speed mentoring. And that's where we pair you with employers who are currently working in a sector that you are interested in working in. And they give you insight in terms of how to bridge the gaps in getting into the sector as a newcomer, or even if you were born here as well. And also give you insight in terms of how to accelerate your job search and accelerate your qualifications. We also have connections with employers from all sectors. So if there's a sector out there, we have a connection in terms of employer. So there's not any sector that we're not involved in. We also do job matching and job placement. And what that looks like is we have clients or individuals who come into our program who may have more barriers or may have experiencing more barriers finding employment than others. And what we do is we have a support program in place for employers to help remove some of those barriers that individuals may face when trying to find employment as well. So one of the things that are the few things that we're going to be talking about today, so we're talking about job search skills. So what does job search skills look like, especially within the Canadian labor market or Canadian Canadian workforce? We're going to talk a little bit about networking for your career and why it's important to network, resume development, also talk a little bit about LinkedIn and virtual networking, preparing for your interview, and also hiring trends in Canada and what that looks like as well. I should point out that these workshop series are also available online, free of cost, online and in person. So it's a hybrid model for a workshop. So if you do want to go to another series in this workshop, you can also attend as well. We have a interview skills one. We also have one that is just solely about resume and how to develop your resume. And typically you leave these workshops with having a marketable resume or ideas on how to create marketable resumes. So really important, if you're interested in joining other series or other presentations outside of this workshops, feel free to visit our website, which is down below, and I will be sharing in the chat later on today as well. So your job search strategies. What are some key questions about your job search strategy? What are some things that you really need to hone into when you're starting this strategy? One, why do you need a strategy and how do you build one? How do you identify targets for your job search? And how do you use your strategies to look for work? So creating a strategy is very important. Being organized is very important when creating a strategy, and also creating goals. So one of the key things that you'll learn from this presentation and also from any of the employment consultants that you're paired with at Access is goal setting is very, very, very crucial to you being successful in your job search. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about job search methods. What are some job search methods? And some of these job search methods, you may ask yourself, we're living in the age we live in the digital age or the age of technology. Do some of these still apply? And the answer is yes. So asking a friend for an introduction is one way to not only learn about jobs that are within the hidden job market, but also learn about roles that you may not be or may not have access to on, say, LinkedIn or Indeed or a combination of both. Answering to an advertisement. So believe it or not, employers still advertise using help wanted signs outside of their place of employment or outside of their place of business. And sometimes help wanted signs look different. So it may not be a post on a job board, but it may be a post, say, on LinkedIn or maybe a post on Facebook. Of course, being wary that you do have to fact check a few of these job postings, but oftentimes posts are also made like that. And of course, registering at an employment agency like Access, where you'll have exclusive access to a few internal job posting, as well as connections to employers. Okay, so job search method and your job search action plan. So a job search action plan is how you execute your job search method in and being very, very strategic in how you do that. So how do you build, why do you need an action plan and how do you build one? And I'll talk a little bit about that. So why do you need a job search action plan? So one, you need to have a job search action plan in order to create career aspiration and goals. As I said previously, goals are very, very crucial to achieving success in job searching. Identifying your skills. So when you look at your resume and you look at your experiences that you've had, whether it's your professional experiences, your lived experiences, you're wanting to identify your skills. And these are not just soft skills. These are also a combination of hard skills and soft skills. So identifying both and understanding where your skills lie and how you can use that to apply for roles and also become successful in your job search as well. Job search targets. So set a target for yourself. So understanding that targets are very, very important. Networking speaks for itself. It's opening up yourself to opportunities, going out to different events, having engagement in different working groups, whether that's groups that are specific to the roles that you want to be a part of, or just general groups. Actively seeking work. So this, I always say to any of the clients who come into Access or any of the stuff, job searching is a job itself. It takes a lot of time, it takes a lot of dedication, and it requires a lot of focus and a lot of work. So we'll get into a little bit more details of each of these points and how they can be used to accelerate your job search. Okay, so identifying your career goal and aspiration. So as you know, one of the most tried and true method of goal setting is the process of creating a SMART goal. And of course, the definition for a SMART goal is a goal that is specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, and time-bound. And of course, during these goal setting stages, you want to make sure that you're also adaptable. What that means is you are able to switch your goals based on the results that you're getting, and also creating a longer timeline for your goals if you're finding that a timeline that you've created for yourself previously is not allowing you to attain those goals. So as I said, a SMART goal, it has to be specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, and time-bound. And one example of a goal, so essentially applying for 3 jobs, or I'd say applying for 30 jobs a week using Indeed alone. And you might say, ooh, 30 jobs seems like a lot, but typically as an employment consultant or individual who's working in the employment sector, we encourage people to apply for anywhere from 50 to 60 jobs a week. And that's because, as I said before, job searching itself is like a full-time role. And in order to be successful, you have to be very, very, one, adaptable and very, very focused on getting those goals. So identifying your skills. So identifying your skills looks very different and has looked very different over time. So in the pre-1800s, the value that was placed on skills were placed on mostly technical skills. So employers were looking for you to have very, very strong technical skills. So the idea of soft skills was not truly introduced in the 1800s. So people were looking for skills like welding, typing, accounting. They wanted to see those hard skills, things that you could do, things that they could really relinquish when you were an employee for them. And then when we move closer to the 1980s and also the 2000s, it kind of started to shift a bit. And employers were looking for a combination of both. So they weren't just looking for technical skills, they were looking for hard skills and soft skills. So a combination of both were really valued. So they were looking for you to have those technical skills, so welding, typing, accounting, and also the soft skills, being creative, being a team player, having really good communication, and also having really good work ethic. Okay, and over time that has changed as well. So of course, you know, the definition for a hard skill is something that is easy to measure. So I'm able to use a software program or a program that allows me to change different softwares, or I'm able to code using different software as well. I'm able to use Photoshop to edit photos. Those are hard skills or technical skills. And then your soft skills is your skills that are essentially learned and innate. So being a good listener, being able to communicate very well, being a good public speaker, being a flexible thinker, a quick learner, being creative, having good work ethics, and then the other ones that are indicated by the H are all hard skills, so hard or technical skills. So now what is happening in the job market is the employers are trying to focus more on the role, the skills that are dependent on the role, or the skills that can be used to advance the role that they're looking for. So essentially, essential skills required to apply for a role that is within education. Of course, you have to have good communication skills, you have to have a teacher's diploma, along with a few other skills. So that's what employers are focused on. They're focused on skills, so a combination of hard skills and soft skills that can be used to advance the role and the organization. So identifying identifying role dependent skills. So how do you do that? So typically looking at the job description. So every job description that you've probably, if you've been looking for work on any of the job search platform, you'll realize that many jobs post job description. A lot of companies have job descriptions that are very extensive and provide a lot of details about the role. And then there's other companies who have very shorter job descriptions that may not give you as much information. A lot of companies do job description in two sections. So they'll ask for your technical skills, which is your hard skills that we just talked about, and also your soft skills. One of the things that you do is having a list of your hard skills and your soft skills allows you to assess whether or not a role is a good fit for you. So taking a look at the job description, you see what are the needs to have and what are the nice to have. So needs to have are the essential skills that are needed for the role and required for the employer to successfully hire you into the position. And a nice to have is a skill that can be added or that can be used to add value to the role, not necessarily a requirement of the role. And the ones that you want to focus on are the need to have. So using the list of skills that you have, your hard skill and your soft skills that you have created, assessing that with the job description, seeing what it is that the employer is asking for, and comparing. Okay, so here's an example here. So IT director. So need to have, so essential to the role, essential to apply for the role. So you must have a degree in IT. certificate in HTML, Python, and JavaScript, 5 to 10 years of experience in working in IT and leadership or management roles. And then nice to have is a strong communication skills to be able to document processes and share updates internally, experience in change management when moving to a new software system. So they're nice to have, but in blue are the need to have, which you will need to assess yourself before applying for this role. Okay, so the other step in your job search strategy is identifying targets. So how do you identify targets for your job search? So let's talk a little bit about that. Okay, so first you want to make sure that you're taking a look at posted jobs. As I said before, one of the things that we often neglect is the older methods of job postings, which is using the newspaper, going to a job fair, and also just responding to a help wanted sign if that's the type of role that you're looking for. Oops, sorry. So posted jobs can be on a job board. So job board can look like the job bank. So that's the Canadian Job Bank. It can be Indeed. It can be an internal job board from an organization. So that's specific to the organizational website. A job board can also be on LinkedIn. It can be on Glassdoor and a few other sites as well. As I said before, company websites also have a career page or career job boards, professional association websites. So for example, Professional Association of Nursing or Social Work will have a separate section that has their job postings or the roles that are available. Job fairs. So coming to job fairs, for example, Access has a lot of job fairs, and we have these throughout the year as well. So you're able to come and speak directly with their employers and learn about roles that they have, either advertised on their website or roles that they have hidden in their hidden job market as well. Social media is also one, and newspapers is a tried and true method that is still active today. As I said before, be wary of the jobs that are posted on social media or less credible sites. You want to make sure that you're doing your research before sending your personal information to employers as well. So just be very, very cautious about that. But there are a few jobs that are posted on social media that are very viable for application as well. Okay. Oops, sorry, thought I unmuted myself for a second there. Okay, so targeting your jobs. So of course, when you're doing doing your targets, you want to make sure that you're targeting your job search to your skills, your experience, and also being very, very keen to the experiences and the culture of the company before applying as well. So one of the things that we do encourage is doing adequate research. So research is a very, very important part of the job search journey. It's an important part because it allows you to understand not just the culture of the company that you're going into, but also be connected with the employees or existing employees of the organization as well. And of course, the number one way to do that is doing research over LinkedIn or doing research on Google as well. Okay, so we're going to talk a little bit about the hidden job market. So in a typical setting, we'll ask, what's your concept of the hidden job market? What does that mean to you? But because we're on a webinar, I'll just jump right into it. So a hidden job market, what does that mean? So essentially, these are jobs that are, as the name suggests, hidden. So jobs that are not necessarily posted and very overtly advertised. These are jobs that you have to network in order to find out about. These are jobs that you hear about either through conversation. These are jobs that you hear about through networking. So our speed mentoring event is one way that you can network with employers or industry professionals or leaders. And that's one way that you can find out about the hidden job markets or roles that are essentially not advertised. So I'll give you an example. So for instance, you went to a mixer with a friend and you had the opportunity to meet somebody who's currently working in the financial sector. and that individual mentioned, "Oh, I work for TD, and I am a executive director of finance, and I am actually looking for a new employee, or I'm looking for a new team member as a junior executor, and the role's not posted yet, but I'd be happy to review your resume." So that's one opportunity to find out about the hidden job market. It's also your opportunity to give your elevator pitch. So one of the things that I would advise you to do before going into any networking situation is to practice your elevator pitch. And it doesn't matter. It could be a barbecue or it could be a very professional networking event. You just never know who you may meet. So always have your elevator pitch prepared. It's a really good way to market yourself in a very concise way. And always try to open up conversation, asking people what they do and what they recommend is a good strategy to job search. Even if they're not working within your field, it's always good to have that conversation as well. Uh, so 40% of jobs, sorry, start party 40% of jobs posted are advertised online or on job boards, and 70% of employers look for talent internally and in their network. So essentially, it's who you know, people know who they know, and that's how jobs are mostly advertised. And of course, jobs you can find employment opportunity within your organization as well, and that's how a lot of organizations have two different job boards. So they'll do an internal posting or they'll do an external posting. And typically the internal posting, if it gets filled before the role goes external, then that's a plus for the organization as well, because they don't have to do ground zero onboarding. They can start at where the team member is at and grow from there, which is better for the employers because it's less cost in terms of the onboarding process as well. And one myth that I do want to debunk, a lot of times you will hear the conversation around you do have to wait for a year before moving into new roles. That's not often true. Across industry is different, and I would never say that that's a one-size-fit-all model for all industry. It's very different across industries, because individuals can move into roles after 2 months, sometimes after four, and oftentimes there is policies that you do have to wait a year, but not always. Okay, so the hidden job market. So how do you find out about the hidden job market? Essentially, you can find out about the hidden job market anywhere. And you can, of course, start by researching the company. One of the good things about researching the company or researching a company is that it shows current employees, and also sometimes it links their LinkedIn page. And of course, I'm not encouraging you to go find an employee on LinkedIn or spam them by any means, but it is a good strategy to maybe follow their page on LinkedIn, see what they're posting, see some of the things that they value and some of the industry trends, especially relating to their organization. Or you can do the professional thing of course, reaching out, and then also following up with a message. I would say follow up with a message on LinkedIn, just letting them know it was a pleasure connecting with them, and that you're very, very happy to have them added to your network, and you would look forward to connecting them with them in the future. And if you have issues kind of crafting that there, I know that LinkedIn provides you with some pre-written ones as well. So always reach out to your connections right after you connect with them as well. Okay, so LinkedIn, of course, your company website, the Better Business Bureau is also an option. The Chamber of Commerce and Glassdoor is a really excellent way to find out about what you can about organizations. Okay, so tailoring your job search. So how do you use your strategy and how do you make your strategy work for you specifically? And the reason why I say for you specifically is that your job search is unique to you, and your job search strategy is built by you. So it might not work for a friend or it might not work for somebody else because you know your skills and expertise, you know the level of commitment that you have to your job search, and you also know the goals that you have for yourself. So it is unique to you. So something that you can't really share. Okay, so build yourself to the job description. So of course, building your resume up to the job description. A lot of times individuals ask, do I have to craft a resume a new resume every single time I apply for a new role? And the answer to that is yes. You do have to take a look at the job description of every role that you apply to, and you do have to target your resume. And the reason why it's essential for you to target your resume is because you want to make sure that as much as possible, you're tailoring your resume to the job description, and you're allowing the employers to see the connection between what they're asking for and what you're offering. Because your resume, one of the things you have to remember, your resume is a tool. So it's a tool that can be used to really to get you the interview. And when you get to that interview stage, and then that's an opportunity to really sell your skills and sell yourself in that in that interview as well. But the tool that you use, which is your resume, is very crucial to getting you that interview. We're going to talk a little bit about temporary jobs, what that looks like, and also account for the season. What does seasonal jobs look like, and what's the importance of seasonal jobs, and why that can help you accelerate your career, and also if you're currently employed, what that looks like as well. Okay, so tailoring your job search, so build your job description, as I said before. While you want to make sure that your resume has specific points, specific words from the job description, we do have this wonderful thing that has been introduced into our world called AI, but it's not a new thing because employers, sorry, have been using that system and a system called ATS to help them review and shortlist potential employees. And what ATS does, it's essentially a system designed to shortlist your resume based on the criteria, based on the similarities to the job description. So that's why it's very, very crucial that every application that you put in or every job that you apply to, it is very unique to the specific job description that you're applying to, or you'll find that you're not getting a lot of response from the applications that you're sending out because they don't match or they're not fitting the ATS requirements that is used to shortlist your jobs. Before ATS was introduced, you'll have humans like ourselves going through your resume and shortlisting your resume. But because of just efficiency and it works better for a lot of employees or employers, my apologies, they have decided to shift towards using ATS. And while the employers have the opportunity to or the ability to include keywords that they want to see or to limit the amount of resume, it's still very, 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 very crucial for you to ensure that the job description in your resume really truly match so you can get past that ATS system. Okay, so temporary jobs. So if you're looking for a temporary role, sometimes you want to make sure that you are editing your resume a bit more to not just to not just include your experiences, but also highlighting your skills. As a newcomer to Canada, we do acknowledge that you might want to go into a temporary role as you settle, but you want to make sure that you are highlighting your skills and also providing really good references to these employees as well. And also when you go into the interview, just making it very clear that even though this is a temporary role for me, I do wish to transition or advance into a more permanent role or something with more stability. So that's one way that you can tailor your job search. So creating building blocks or goals. So I might start with the temporary roles, and then I'll go into something more permanent depending on my life goals. Or I could just go straight into something that is permanent as well. Okay, so account for the season. So if you want to work as a seasonal worker, that's also a possibility. But of course, as you know, seasons change and companies' goals change based on what they want, especially in retail. So if you're looking for jobs or roles within retail, that's something that you can do seasonally. If you're looking for jobs and roles in construction, you know that that's something that you have to do seasonally as well. But regardless of the season, regardless of the role, or regardless of the industry, one of the things that is at the forefront of that is that you do have to highlight your skills. And these are both technical skills and hard skills when you're going into these spaces. And you want to make sure that you are also giving yourself the opportunity to take advantage of interviews. One of the good things about practicing your interview skills outside of a mock interview is that it helps you to really develop and advance your skills. Sometimes we often take for granted how much practice we need for interviewing. And I think through informational interview or just interviewing in general, it creates a level of comfortability when going into interviews. So I would advise you to continue to practice your interview skills, as it is truly important to advancing your interviews. And also here at Access, we do provide the opportunities to do mock interview. We have this unique platform that is called Spark Hire that will allow you to practice your interview skills at home and kind of see yourself recorded, see how you've answered those questions. And you're going to be able to get feedback both from your employment consultant and also provide yourself with feedback as well. Okay, so currently hired. So if you're currently hired and you're looking to transition from the current place of employment, whether that's in a temporary job or a seasonal job, you can still tailor your job search. So some of the tools that we've discussed, actually all the tools that we've discussed so far is still applicable in this situation. We've had many clients before who've transitioned into the Canadian labor market working temporarily or seasonal, and then wanting to shift into something that is more targeted to their profession or their sector that they were trained in, whether that's in their home country or here in Canada. So one of the things, don't shy away from the job market if you're already working. You're getting your experience, you're getting your Canadian experience. If you want, you can also create a functional resume. So if you're currently employed, you can create a functional resume that highlights your skills and abilities, your education, and also your previous experience without using dates as well. So that's one way that you can tailor your job search. But do not deter yourself from applying for roles or higher paying roles or more advanced roles if you're currently employed, because that is definitely one way you can tailor your job search as well. So how long will it take for you to find a job? So there are many factors that come into play when you think about your job search and how long it will take you to find a job. So it depends on internal factors such as your job search skills. So what are your skills? So have you implemented your goals? Have you highlighted your skills, both your soft skills and your hard skills? What does that look like for you? Have you created those lists? And when you create those lists, are you comparing those things to the job descriptions that you're looking at? Are you applying for roles that are not necessarily with organizations that are solely directed at the profession that you want to be working in? And what I mean by that is, for example, you are an IT, you come from an IT background, but you're looking at organizations that are solely, for example, Accenture, you're solely looking for job opportunity at IT-based companies. But all companies need IT professionals. And it's always good to look at the job boards and job posting from all organizations, regardless of the sector, right? If you work within food or hospitality, they also use systems, computers, and software. They may need an IT analyst in that as well. So not just tailoring your job search to the sector and to organizations that are solely focused on that, but broadening your horizon. Also, knowing your salary expectations as well, or salary requirements. So for example, if you have a certain expectation in terms of salary, being able to kind of being a little bit flexible with us, especially if you don't have experience here in Canada, unfortunately. You want to make sure that you're having that conversation upfront with the employer, and also not allowing that to be a deterrent, because you do want to get the experience, and you do want to see your long-term goal of advancement. A lot of times you can go directly into an intermediate or senior role based on your experience and your level of knowledge in the sector, and then these things wouldn't come to play. So this is not necessarily true for everyone. And of course, the strength of your network. So the hidden job market is solely based on, or your access to the hidden job market is solely based on the strength of your networks. And how do you get connected? One of the ways that you can get connected is using services like Access. And the good thing about Access is we do have services here in Canada. We also provide pre-arrival services as well. So before you get to Canada, we're able to connect you with employers. We'll help you with your settlement and try to help it become a smoother transition into the Canadian labor market. So we provide that as well. And if you're already here, get connected with us. And what we can do is help you create these strategies. These job search strategies takes the time, and we have employment consultants and employee liaisons that are in place to help you create those strategies and help you kind of sustain that goal and keep motivated throughout the process as well. There's also some external factors that may hire when or how long it takes for you to find a job. Hiring season. So right now, we're slowly nearing into or we're currently experiencing a little bit of an economic crisis, and a lot of employers have put on hiring freezes. And while that is true for a lot of industries, there's also a lot of industries on the flip side who are actually ramping up their hiring. So being very, very crucial and very deliberate in your research when it comes to looking for organizations that are ramping up their hiring and not necessarily organizations that are looking to kind of slow down their hiring as well. And of course, you will get this information from LinkedIn, from the job bank, and also from Indeed. And if you want to come to Access, and we can give you more direction in terms of how to get this information as well. Trends in the field, that's very similar to that point. So it depends on trends in a specific sector. So it depends on the sector that you're currently looking for work in. But as I said, I'll go back to my original point. If you are trained in a specific sector, broaden your horizon and look for roles across various businesses and across various organizations, and not just organizations that are directly dealing with your line of work, because you might have a lot of luck doing that as well. And of course, competition. If you have LinkedIn or ever used LinkedIn Premium, LinkedIn does this thing where it shows you how many other competitors, or how many competitors you have for a role. So you'll see 106 individuals have already applied for this role, or 50 people have already applied for this role. Typically, I would say don't use it as a deterrent, because once you have implemented the strategy of targeting your resume, ensuring that your soft skills and your hard skills are highlighted, you'll have a good chance of passing that ATS system. And of course, if you have an employment consultant at Access as well, will help you in terms of putting in advocating for you with the employer, and also giving you feedback if you've gone through the interview process. So competition is a factor, but don't let competition be a deterrent for you applying for roles as well. So that is the end of that portion, or that period. Any questions, you can throw it into the chat as well. So of course, the top tips for today that we talked about is one, understanding your job search strategy and creating a job search strategy. In order to create a job search strategy, you have to establish job search goals. These goals must be SMART goals. So these goals must be specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, and time-bound. It is very crucial for you to create goals, because the only way to achieve them is to have them created. Set up your skills. So just like you'll do for a list of things that you want to buy, set up a list of skills that you have and assess yourself. And then also, if you find that, I may not be very I may want to develop a certain skill further, use softwares, like free softwares like LinkedIn Learning and IBM Skills Build to develop these skills. Coursera, Diversio, those are all free platforms that offer free training for you to advance your skills and learn a little bit about how those skills can be applied here in the Canadian labor market, and how you can advance yourself. And also ensuring that you are broadening your network. So don't tell yourself that you need to network within your sector and only within your sector. Step outside of your sector, step outside of the norm, and network with everybody. Work on your elevator pitch, because that is your main selling point when you're having conversations with individuals, and continue to network. That's how you learn about the hidden job market. So the hidden job market is essentially the jobs that you hear about through networking, internal job posting, and essentially that only comes about through who you know. So key pieces, and also understanding that there's various ways in which employers advertise roles. So it's not just LinkedIn, it's not just Indeed. There's different ways. Still, employers still advertise roles in the newspaper as well, looking for various job boards, and also just zeroing into a lot of research. So make sure you're researching the companies, make sure you're researching the company culture, and also practicing your interview skills. And of course, coming to Access so we can get you connected with an employment consultant that will help you one-on-one along your work alongside you with your job search goals and helping you to get to that sustainable employment opportunity that you need and that you may retire from in the future. And that is it for the presentation. Thank you.
Jamoya, thank you so much for
No.
that. Here's your contact. Sorry, I cut you off.
No worries. That's okay, Ramya. So I just wanted to share contact information. So we do have 7 locations across the GTA. And if you want, you can call any of the Access locations and we can provide you with service. All Access locations have similar services, and if it's not accessible there, we will get you and point you in the right direction. So I'll leave that up if anybody wants to take a quick picture, or we can also send that out to the participants today as well. Thank you. Nelson, I'll pass it back to you.
Okay, Jamoya, thank you. That was very comprehensive. A lot of top tips and key pieces of advice, like emphasizing strengthening your network and the fact that only 40% of jobs are actually posted, and the rest, and externally, not a lot of employers look for jobs within their own look for employees to hire employees from within their own networks. And so that's great information. Also emphasizes the importance of networking. So thank you so much. We have a number of questions. Let's see how many we can get through. So can you share how to access the interview prep tool you mentioned?
Of course. So we do have the interview prep tool posted on our website. And what I can do is I can share that in the chat before I log off today. And I'll also share it with you, Ramya and Laura, so you can share it with the participants as well, so you can access that tool. On our website, which is very simple, accessemployment.ca, you will also find a list of workshops that are coming up, and they're all virtual. So you can access these workshops from anywhere in the world. If you're interested in learning about interview skills, more about developing your resume, networking, and a few others as well.
Thank you.
No problem.
Are all companies starting to use ATS, or is it only the bigger ones? And what does it stand for?
Okay, so it is a new model, I would say, but a lot of companies do use it. I don't think the size of the company really matters in terms of using ATS. I know for us, we're a nonprofit and we have used ATS, or we have started to use ATS. And the reason why we do that, it's because it's a more efficient process in terms of shortlisting resumes, and allowing individuals or allowing our system to only filter high quality individuals through the system. So it's an automated tracking system. That's what it is.
Okay, great. The next one, how would you say salaries in Canada for newcomers compares to someone who has been here for 5 to 10 years?
So salary, I can't speak to salary for every organization. It's dependent on the role, and of course dependent on the candidate's level of experience, or the incumbent's level of experience going into the role as well. I cannot put a blanket statement on what salary will look like, but I know for most organizations, they do have what is called a salary ladder or salary grid. So you do start within a certain role and, within a certain level, and you're able to move up that grid, whether that's based on a 6-month period or a 1-year period. But all organizations do this differently, and it's different across all sectors. So I can't speak specifically to that, but that's the information that I have in terms of salary and salary increase in Canada.
Okay, great. And one last question. I've heard about employment consultants who can help rebrand. What are your thoughts on using one?
Employment consultants?
Yeah, who can help you rebrand.
Rebrand. So I'm assuming you're talking about employment consultants here at Access. I can answer from that standpoint.
I think they're asking generally. Or, well, can Access help with that?
Yes, so access helps with that, but I wouldn't want to say we rebrand or rebrand your skills and experience. But what we do is we help you kind of realign your goals to match the Canadian expectations. So one of the things, I'll give you an example. One of the issues we have when individuals come in and they're new to Canada is the issue of the difference in the resume styles. Because we're used to a certain format back home where we essentially put out everything, but that's not the expectation here in Canada. So oftentimes we won't rebrand, but we will provide a lot of feedback on resumes and how to redevelop your resume so it works for the Canadian labor market. And so it's effective as well. And I talked a lot about that in the session as well, that it's very key that when you're applying for roles, you have to target your resume for every single role that you apply to, because you want to make sure that the job description and the resume has some sort of cohesion.
Okay, and Access will be able to help with that,
Most
right?
definitely. Yes, we can.
Okay, good.
Mhm.
So we're asking attendees who are interested to contact one of your offices
Mhm.
and then look for support,
Of course.
correct? Okay, good. Well, thank you for that very comprehensive presentation. And we'll invite our next speaker to join us, Murli Murthy. Murli is a best-selling author, leadership trainer, and the resident career coach for Canadian immigrants. So if you've been receiving our newsletters and magazines, you will be familiar with his columns. If you have any questions for Murli, you can type them in the Q&A or the chat, and we'll pose it to him at the end of the presentation. You can also email us at info@canadianimmigrant.ca. Murli, please go ahead.
Thank you, Ramya. It's always a pleasure to join hands with Canadian Immigrant. And hello, everyone. We see over 66 participants. That's a huge number. It's my pleasure to share with all of you. We have very limited time. And I did see that Jamoya answered a lot of questions. Whatever I needed to share, it's already been shared. But we will go ahead and clarify a couple of more things. I also see some questions that have been asked in the chat box, and my presentation could actually help you, get more clarity on that. So let's not waste any more time. Let's get started. So that is our topic title for today. Smart upgrade, successful interview preparation. And why is it in that order? The topic for today is to help you prepare for interviews. But before that, certain steps have to be covered. You need to have a smart upgrade. All right. There could be certain blind spot. There could be certain gaps that you need to cover. We are going to talk about 3 gaps that you will cover, and then we'll talk about common interview questions and how you can answer them. If you already landed an interview, congratulations. My heartiest congratulations to you. You crossed the first barrier. There are certain jobs where over 1,000 people apply: customer service, IT, sales, marketing, and many Canadian jobs, over 250 people apply anyway. If you were to able to overcome all that and actually have you landed an interview, so my big congrats for you. So now we'll prepare you for the next stage. So a little about me. So I'm going to start my presentation. That's my website, aceworldfoundation.com. Like Ramya said, I'm a career coach with resident career coach with Canadian Immigrant, and we help people brand themselves and succeed in the job market. All right, so you can look up my website. Those are books that I have written pertaining to finding a job and branding yourself. These are some of the clients we speak to. This is a book that pertains definitely to a job seeker, and I'll be answering many of the questions from this book. So let's get started, guys. I believe a lot of you, over 64 people on this call, maybe see yourself here. If not, why would you be on the call? Your job is at the other end and you are here. That bridge you need to cover the gap. What do you need to do? I'm going to suggest 3 things you need to do to cross over to the bridge. Okay, so let's get started. Before we get started, have a look at this beautiful quote by Alvin Toffler. The illiterate of the 21st century will not be those who cannot read and write, but those who cannot learn, unlearn and relearn. That's very important. As I share certain information, many of you may resist. Mankind is used to resisting. We don't like change. But if you come to a new country, if you're adapting yourself, you need to change. One of the questions I saw on the chat box, and I believe the person is still there, is, if I don't have Canadian experience, can I succeed in Canada? Absolutely, 100%. Isn't that how every immigrant has succeeded in Canada? A lot of Canadians who come here, very few are students. Many of the people who come into Canada are professionals with job experience. How did they build it here? They covered those gaps. Okay. Here is one more disclaimer. Any information and I'm going to share with you, any stats that I'll share with you is already available on the internet. It's an open source information. For example, this particular image, any other image that I'm going to share is already available on the internet. If I can find it, you can find it too. So keep that in mind. I haven't sourced it from some library. It's open source information. So what are the 3 gaps you need to cover to get through into the job market? You're going to cover 3 skills to career transition to in-demand jobs currently in Canada. The first one, I call it the new learning gap. What do I mean by that? Hey, you may know project management, you may know banking, you may know sales back home as an immigrant, right? But in Canada, maybe there is a gap you need to overcome. What is the gap? I think Jamovia mentioned it. Your degree, I'm willing to work hard. I really work hard. No, hey, anyone can do it. Over 1,000 people can do it. Your degree and your hard work is no longer a competitive advantage. Then you might ask, Murli, but what is my competitive advantage? Your soft skills plus your degree plus your hard work. Now that's a competitive advantage. All right. There is enough data out there. Remember, on the internet. Here is one information I found on the internet. Look at that. That's not me. That's research conducted by Harvard, Carnegie, and Stanford have concluded 85% of success comes from soft skills. In the job market, only 15%, which means what? Here is truth bomb number 1. That piece of paper called a resume can never contain your greatness. You are absolutely potential. Your potential is unlimited beyond imagination. Do not depend too much on a piece of paper called a resume or a certificate or a degree. It's how resourceful you can be. All right. So your resourcefulness is what is being tested. The piece of paper will very rarely land you a great job. It might open a door. A resume might open a door, but it's you who gets in. Okay. All right. So here is one more stat I found out. Look at this. Available on the internet, hard skills versus soft skills. Recruiters were asked, almost 50-50, this is 50-50. Soft skills is your ability to communicate, your teamwork, interpersonal skills, the smile, the body language. On a video interview, how do you dress up? What's your background? How's your lighting? Everything is a soft skill. Look at this. I hope you understand 50% of your success in Canada will be a soft skill. Hey, I'm an immigrant. I came from Dubai, right? And previously in India, no one taught us these things. All we learned was get a good degree, study hard, go to good school, get a good degree, get a job. We never knew soft skills training is absolutely essential. And Canadian Immigrant has lots of resources on it. You guys can check up the website, there's a lot of them. Soft skills is important. That's a gap you need to cover. All right, look at this. Your degree is a hard skill. Your typing speed is a hard skill. Okay, now even that can be done by AI, but your soft skill, communication, leadership, teamwork, AI can never do that. And that's where you win. Your competitive edge is your soft skill, guys, in a very, very, busy world. In your resume, on LinkedIn profile, on Instagram, on Facebook, are you very intentional? There is nothing called accidental greatness. You've got to be intentional about it. Keywords are very important. On a job description, look at what they say. If they have asked for global experience, hey, you might want to change the word international experience on your resume to global experience. Subtle changes like that. Jeremiah mentioned you may have to adapt your resume. You don't have to redo a resume all the while, but adapt it to every job. All right. This will help you land an interview. LinkedIn, make sure LinkedIn is mentioned in the first 6 seconds. That's what it takes for a recruiter to scan your resume. In the first 6 seconds, as the eye goes from top to bottom on your resume, your LinkedIn should be mentioned. Experience, relevant experience. Keywords. I would recommend a website called ziprecruiter.com. There are many resources out there. This is just one that came to my mind. It's a free resource. You can write it down, ziprecruiter.com. You would simply go to ziprecruiter.com, type in your job. You could be a nurse, you could be a project manager, you could be a marketing consultant. And if you type that and type the word keywords, it will come up with the keyword required to be ranked higher on your rankings and also to be seen by the recruiter and also to be approved by the ATS. You see, you can beat the system. ZipRecruiter.com. All right. Always quantify results. Don't say I did a great job. I led a team. I led a team resulting in 30% increase in pay-per-clicks or resulting in 25% leads. Always, quantify your results. Add projects, we'll talk about their skills, hard skills and soft skills. Formatting, mobile friendly, very simple. All right. Resumes are very important. Look at this. I found it from a source called Glassdoor. An average job attracts 250 resumes, 4 to 6 are shortlisted, 1 gets the offer. It's very competitive, guys. So you want to be very sure, you want to cover these gaps. You don't want to leave any red flag. Guess what? I went on the internet and I searched this. Hey, what makes an ideal candidate for any job? See what I found. Recruiters look for leadership. This image is available on the internet. You can find it. Recruiters look for leadership. They look for communication, many other things. But look at point number 2. They look for problem solving. In every interview question, make sure you solve a problem. Let your resume in the first 10 seconds solve a problem. You are hired to solve a problem or fill a need. Never forget that. All right, people don't care who you are. They only care if you can solve their problems quickly. Be seen as a solution to the job. So the first learning gap you're going to cover is don't be so busy telling about yourself, but your resume, your LinkedIn profile, your Instagram, your Facebook, anything you put out there, your cover letter, even how you network at an event. I normally say this, you don't just network, you net give. Make sure you're solving a problem or filling a need. That's the first gap you cover. Point number 2, social media gap. 10 years back, I may not have included this. But today, Ramya and I and a lot of the information on Canadian Immigrant keep stressing this. A lot of people we know qualified for the job, but they missed out because of their social media laziness, I might say. They were not sure what they were putting in. There's a war happening out there. It's none of your business. Get a job first. Look, you can have an opinion or you can have a job. Be very careful what you put on social media because everything gets noticed. A lot of people have lost interviews and job offers and even got fired from their job because of something they put on social media. Everyone is entitled to an opinion, but don't make it public. Stick to your job. All right. Look at this. From a source called Job Description Library. 91% of employers, might as well make it 100%. That's close to 100. Almost everyone looks up social media and 21% have rejected it. Okay. So let me just look at the questions. Okay. Thank you so much. Yeah. Thank you, Inna. Networking was a net give. Solve a problem, fill a need, be a problem solver. Thank you very much. Okay. Here is one more. From Harvard Business Review. Remember, I told you any information that I'm going to share is found on the internet. This is what I found out on the Harvard website. 70% of employers, the previous one said 91. Well, let's assume a lot of employers check out your profile. If someone is calling you for an interview, they are not wasting their time. They've checked you out, which is why Congratulations once again, you made the cut. But 54% are rejected applicants. No religious post, no bad mouthing your boss or your neighbor or the country or anything. Rising gas prices, not on social media, especially if you want a job. A war is happening, stay out of it. You can do private comment, but not on public. Remember, I can have an opinion or I can have a job. You can't have both. You got to choose. Okay, so be very careful. Social media gaps. Your online presence is also a resume these days, guys. Even this image I found on the internet. I'm not a web designer. I just find an image and I post it. Your online presence is your social resume. All right. Because what you're seeing online also becomes part of your resume. By the same yardstick, look at this. Another image I found. Thousands and thousands of people have got jobs with Facebook and LinkedIn. Say Twitter, now it's X. This was an earlier image, but you get the idea, right? Why not you? In fact, I'll come to the next point. Every minute, 3 people get a job on LinkedIn. Let me repeat. Every minute, 3 people get a job on LinkedIn. While you were here, the last 1 minute, someone got a job. What is it that they know that you don't? All right. Which brings me to the third skill gap. LinkedIn is extremely important, guy. In fact, LinkedIn is the one platform you should be very well versed on. But remember, hey Murli, but I am on LinkedIn. All you're telling is I joined a gym means nothing. It's what you do on LinkedIn that can help you get a job, right? Look at this. I found this image on internet. 3 people are hired on LinkedIn every minute. You might notice a job posting comes, if you're 1 hour late, by the time you apply, 245 people have already applied. In the very first second, 55 applicants. Isn't that scary? But guys, there is a way to cut through the clutter. You suggest stats, you need to remember, all right? This is from another resource. 87% of recruiters, might as well make it 100. Look up LinkedIn. They also look up Facebook and X, but hey, they look up, a lot of them look up LinkedIn. People make a decision to call you for an interview or to hire you based on your LinkedIn profile. I can't stress it's important. So don't just be on LinkedIn. You got to do some smart stuff on LinkedIn. You can connect with me on LinkedIn and I can lead you. You can connect with Canadian Immigrant on LinkedIn. They got some fabulous resources. All right. First thing, have a great image. I hope you do that. Right. Your LinkedIn headline should never make people say, so what? I see LinkedIn profile, student open to work, means nothing, guys. How you can solve a problem. Your LinkedIn headline should solve a problem. Sorry if I'm going fast because I need to cover the meat, which is how to answer interview questions, but I'm preparing you. Learning gap, soft skills, social media awareness, and LinkedIn. These are the 3 most important things to prepare you for an interview. Just a random example. I don't know this lady, but look at her LinkedIn title. Boom, boom, boom. Keywords, solving a problem. Another example, keywords, solving a problem. Hey, I looked them up, and this is what I did for my LinkedIn. Hi, my name is Murali. I'm an author, I'm a speaker, I'm a coach. If I stop there, some of you will say, so what? I need to cover the gap. Remember the gap? Building brand, building people. We are about building organization. What is Canadian Immigrant doing? Empowering you, building organizations. And me being part of them, we are doing the same. So we live true to our purpose. Solve a problem. And say that on your resume, on your LinkedIn, everywhere, and on your social media posts. Enough of cat videos and dog videos, right? Make Instagram work for you, Facebook work for you. This is something I wanted to speak about, right? Learn to share a project on LinkedIn. LinkedIn has an home page. It says, share a picture, share a post, do something. Maybe right now after this, go on LinkedIn and say, you know what, hey, I had a great session with Canadian Immigrant. Harvard Business Review says projects are the new interviews. They go as far as to the resumes are dead. Resumes are dead. A piece of paper can never capture your greatness. Interviews are ineffective. But projects are the real future of hiring. What's a project? Right? If you're a project manager, if you're a financial consultant, if you're a management consultant, read about your industry. See what's trending, what's going to happen in 2024, how is AI impacting? Talk about that. Someone asked the question, if I don't have Canadian experience, you don't need Canadian experience. You need to be aware of the market, and recruiters will look up your profile and they will call you. For example, here is a website. I picked this up from Career and Enlightenment. How to use blogging to get a job. Can you blog about your industry? Why not? Well, you may not like to blog. Can you do a podcast? Something, drop a seed. Every seed grows. Let me repeat, every seed grows. Don't sit at home twiddling your thumb, sending resumes into a black hole. Do something in your industry. Be a problem solver in your industry. Blogging, podcast, videos, something. Another image I picked off the internet. Apply first on LinkedIn. LinkedIn has an easy apply feature. Other social media channels don't have it. Easy apply. You can apply right away. All right. Make sure it is full. Now we come to how to answer interview question. Look at this image for a second. All right. Go through the 10 questions. Thank you, Sarah. Thank you, everyone. Guys, I wish we had more time, but we're on a roller coaster ride here. We got exactly 10 more minutes. We're going to wrap it up. There are multiple questions. My only thing is, all of us know in an interview you are asked, tell me about yourself. But if you put two and two together, they look up LinkedIn, isn't it? They look up your profile. In other words, if you were to interview me, I'm going to sit at the interview table in control. This is one thing I want to remember. Stay in control. Don't get fidgety. Someone tells you, tell me about yourself. I am going to put enough information out there in the market, on LinkedIn, on Instagram, on Facebook, that I know you will look me up. I know you're going to peep into my window. I'm going to keep my room clean. So when the guy tells me, tell me about yourself, in the back of your mind, but you already know. You know that I posted a blog. You know that I spoke about the industry. You see what I'm saying? Now that you know, you will be asked, tell me about yourself. Give them enough information to like you. Information about you should be like a trailer of a movie. They sit in an interview and they want to see the movie called You. You are the star of the movie called You. You are the director of the movie called You. You are the producer of the movie called You. Now tell me, should your movie be a blockbuster or a flop? It should be a big hit. The recruiter is looking to see the movie after watching the trailer on LinkedIn. So how do you answer? Tell me about yourself. Hey, but you already know the answer. In the back of your mind, don't say that, but that's the idea. Okay, these are some of the questions. What is your greatest strength? What is your weakness? Why should we hire you? If you can nail these 10 questions, the answer to the 10 questions, you got the job nailed. Tell me. Let me tell you. So here are two things I want to tell you. Before you come back to these 10 questions, I want you to always remember two things. Got it? Keep in mind that there will be at least 5 to 6, at least 10 other candidates who will be asked the same question. Keep that in mind. You are not the only one in the market. Yes, from hundreds and thousands, you got shortlisted to the top 10. They don't interview more than 10, 15 people. But if everyone says the same, tell me about yourself. I went to the college, university, I got a degree. How is the recruiter going to remember you? What should you do for the recruiter to remember you after 10 interviews? Here are two tips. Okay, tip number 1. Any answer you give has to be in the star format. Keep that in mind. Here was the situation, storytelling, the hero's journey. Remember, you are the hero of your movie and the hero always wins. Right? You are the movie director and the producer of a movie called You. Today, you write a brand new chapter in your life. Anything you speak from now onwards has to be in the star format. This is the situation, this was the task, this is how I handled it, this is the action I took, this is the result that came. Remember, quantify your answer. I hope you remember STAR. We will apply STAR to each of the question. Got it? Point number 2. Facts tell, but stories sell. Even this I found on the internet, guys. I did not make up anything. I found this image on the internet. Now, if the interviewer listens to 10 answers, all 10 are different. Maybe 9 are the same because they were not on this call, but you are on this call. This is how you get a job. You are going to add a story to every answer. You solve a problem by answering a story. In my previous company, I did this. In my previous role, I did this. Maybe you don't have job experience. At school, I did this. I was part of a team. Always add a story. All right. So facts tell, but stories tell. And always have the star format to answer any interview question. Let me repeat. You come to the interview prepared. You've covered the gap. Social media is clean. Whatever you did till yesterday, I don't care. Whatever you did till 2 p.m. today, it's over. We can't undo it. But starting now, you got to be extremely careful. It's your life, right? And LinkedIn, you got to optimize it. Keywords and soft skills. Got it? If it's a video interview, if it's a face-to-face interview, you're going to master soft skills. Got it? Now that you're ready, you're going to apply star format and the storytelling format. Okay, here we go. Tell me about yourself. Of course, tell them about yourself. But wait, read the job description. Nobody is really interested that you went to university in Germany or you got a degree. Nobody is really. People don't even care whether you got an award from the Prime Minister or the President. They only want to know how does your answer solve our problem. Each answer of yours should answer to the job description. So what do you tell about yourself? I was a project manager back in my country. I bring 5+ years experience. Here is a tip. If you have over 10 years experience, please don't say 15 years or 20 years or 11 years. Always say 10 plus. Why? Because a lot of young students are competing for the same job. So maximum you can say I have 10 plus years, right? So I have 5 years, 8 years, quantify it. I have 8 years experience of doing the project at my previous organization. I learned that I'm able to complete tasks on time. I'm a great problem solver. I researcher, go attention to detail. And now this is where you connect the dot. As you mentioned in your job description, I do the same blah, 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 blah. And hence, I'm an ideal fit for the role. Don't let them connect the dot. You got to connect the dot. This is your job description. This is who I am. See how both the rivers lead to the same ocean. Each one of your answer should make them realize all rivers lead to the same ocean. This is who we are and this is who this person is, and they both match. What is your greatest strength? Of course, talk about it, but it must relate to a job description. Maybe in the job description, it is told attention to detail. That is going to be your greatest strength. I consider many things as my strength, but definitely I proved again and again to my managers and supervisors that I have great attention to detail. I proofread, I edit, I go over a document again and again before the proposal goes out. And I've always received, a lot of accolades for that. You see, address their situation. Every answer of yours should solve it. What is your biggest weakness? This is a tough one. Never show fear. Definitely talk about your weakness, but don't just leave it there. I don't know how to climb Mount Everest. I don't know how to do yoga. Irrelevant. Whatever is your weakness, it has to transform into a strength. Got it? You want to be seen as a person who is overcoming. So, for example, if you were to ask me what's your weakness, I would make sure that my weakness is also your weakness. What is every organization's weakness today? A lot of things need to be done in little time. Okay, maybe you're a great time manager. You prioritize things well. But earlier you couldn't, but now you employed the 80-20 Pareto method or this method or that method, you figured out how to solve. Another big thing is, what is your biggest weakness? There is so much social media out there. I understand organizations need social media. I always find myself behind, but now I have made it a resolve to spend 1 hour every day on LinkedIn or on Facebook or Instagram and learn how social media can impact a business. You see, you're showing them that you're overcoming the same problem they have. Why should we hire you? Big question. If the same question is asked to 10 people, this is where facts tell but stories tell comes in. This is why you should hire me. I got all the skills you need. But I read on your website, you got some great core values. You talk about integrity, authenticity. When I growing up, my parents, my dad, my mom said authenticity is very important. Whatever you do, be authentic. I could instantly see a connect between the values I was brought up with the values of the organization. I really am impressed with what your CEO said in your annual report. You see what I'm saying? That's what the speaker before me said. Research the organization. Suddenly your answer is unique. Star format and story. Always a story. My parents told me. I read about your CEO. Something, the little touch makes all the difference. The difference between ordinary and extraordinary is a little extra. A little makes all the difference, right? What's the greatest professional achievement? Definitely the star format. I was working odd hours and I was working in different time zones, but my supervisor asked me to stay late. I stayed late and people appreciated. Boom, remember the story. And I proved that I could stay late and get a job done within deadline, right? Attach a story. How well do you handle stress? Similar situation. Attach a story. When I was young, I learned not to take multiple projects at the same time. At my previous organization or at college where I volunteered, I had to submit a paper, but I also had to do an assignment. I learned to prioritize time, answer the right question, do a lot of research, and notify people earlier. Now I know how to handle stress. A story. Why are you leaving your job? Definitely, right? Good opportunity. Again, I read your job description. I see it aligns with my values. Give a different answer and an authentic answer. What has been your biggest failure? Just like answer question to question number 6 and 5. I learned through my experience. Now it's not a failure. I learned from failure. Guys, got it? There's a difference between failing and a failure. Right? I'm not a failure. Tell them that. I failed, but now I learned. I learned from my failure. Where do you see yourself in 5 years? Read the company's description. Maybe it's Citibank or Accenture. See where they want to go in 5 years. I want to be there where you want to be there. I want to take you there and in the process grow myself. Your answer has to align with their value. What are your salary expectations? Very simple. Do not give a number. Give a range. Based on my experience and based on industry standards, I believe my salary should be fair enough, should be in the range of 60 to 70,000, 75 to 85,000. Give a range. Always stay. Never skirt a question, always stay in that. I think we are done with that. So star format, situation, tactic, action, result. Tell a story always. Remember, I want to end with this. You want to be successful? There is opportunity out there. Every day someone getting hired. Right now, 3 people got hired. What is missing? Success is equal to opportunity plus preparation. Now you know how to prepare yourself. Go on social media, write what Canadian Immigrant, how they provided a great service. When you drop a good seed, it grows. When you drop a bad seed, it grows as well. So prepare yourself. Preparation, preparation, preparation. Cover the gaps and you become unbeatable. All right. With that, I'm done. That's my contact details. We are open for Q&A, Ramya.
Morley, thank you so much. It's always such a pleasure to have you. You're very energizing and you always have like these powerful analogies to share. You bring so much energy into the room and the presentation. So thank you for being here. We'll just go to the questions. And Morley, I know you've been looking at the questions as well. If there's something you want to pick up on, go ahead.
Can I go ahead? This was a very good question. This happens to everyone. Devi, I hope you spelled your name right. What should I do if I don't hear back from any of the employers that have applied? Never give up. Be persistent. If you have a pet, a lot of you can identify with this. Or if you have a young baby, a child will not give up till it gets the candy. The pet will not give up till it gets its treat. Right? Don't pester them. Let's say, Devi, I applied for a job and you are a recruiter. I did not hear back from you. That's what I'm going to do. I'm not going to ask you, Devi, what happened to my job? I'm going to do something in the industry. So let us take project management. I've been talking about that. Or marketing from where I come from. I'm going to read about a trend. Okay. I'm going to read about, in fact, Ramya, a couple of days back, we spoke about being a farmer. That could be a great analogy. There's a blog article that Ramya and I have just shared in the magazine. How to be a farmer and cultivating a career. You're nourishing the crop. You're preparing the land. So this is what I would do, Devi. I would first post something. They call it clickbait, right? You got to post something on the LinkedIn. And then I will say, Devi, I just posted something. I hope you had a look. Here, have a look at that link. They say, right, sow and reaping. You sow and you reap. You don't reap and you sow. Now you say, hey, Devi, by the way, I just want to check. I just wanted an update on what's happening. You're making Devi read about you. You're disrupting his life. Okay, the recruiter is going to read about you. You're going to be on their mind, top of mind. Now it's okay to ask a question. Never just ask a question just like that. Always be contributing. Don't be consuming. Contribution, progress is equal to happiness. I didn't say it, Tony Robbins says it. Progress is happiness. Be contributing, be a farmer, read that article that we shared. And the farmer always gets a crop, but he's patient. All right. Okay, I hope I answered the question.
That was great. Thank you. Okay, while you're looking, do you have any suggestions on how I can follow up on a job I applied to through a portal with no email provided for follow-up?
Okay, all right. Happens all the time. Remember background research, that 5 P's, right? Prior performance prevents poor, prior preparation prevents poor performance. Prior preparation prevents poor performance. If it happens, it's okay. Now look up the company, look up their LinkedIn, look up their managers, follow them on social media. There's going to be a link. You can always reach out to the company. Maybe you send it to a portal, right? The portal would have forwarded to the organization, maybe RBC. Look up RBC, look up the manager. Always be digging, you will find a hole. All right, so there are multiple ways to reach, especially in today's world of social media. Okay, all the top management are on Instagram, Facebook, and X, and every other portal. You got to find them, but make sure you have an X profile, you have an Instagram profile. Follow them. In LinkedIn, you have to ask permission, but in Instagram and others, you can just follow. Now you can get the details. If that is your question, there are multiple ways. They said to skin a cat, but you get the idea. There are multiple ways to reach an organization. There isn't only one way. Ramya, any other? Yeah.
I love your analogies, from joining the gym, but not going to the gym, having a profile on social media, but not doing anything about it. Perfect. These are excellent ways to inspire all of us to do something. So there's a question about Glassdoor. So is there a fee to join Glassdoor, or is there a free version?
Sorry, I didn't hear that.
So you mentioned Glassdoor.
Yeah.
And they're asking, is there a free version, or do I have to pay a fee? Is it worth it?
Okay. Here is my take on this. The personal opinion, paying a fee has not created drastic results. Just to let you know. Remember, guys, Glassdoor or a resume or a LinkedIn can only do so much. It is you, your persona, your aura that gets you through. Remember, they might open a door. So I would recommend, if you ask me personally, there are too many resources out there that I don't need to pay someone. They also need to make money, we get it, right? But you can give back to the community later till you get a job. Till you get a job, I would recommend there are enough resources that can help you get your foot in the door without paying. There is Eluta, there is Indeed, there is Glassdoor, there is also LinkedIn, there is Monster, then there is Workopolis, then there is Job Leads, or there are so many of them. I hope I answered the question, Ramya, but that's my personal opinion.
Yeah, no, it's great. It's great to have opinions from experts like yourself. So I'm going to encourage everyone else who wants to connect with Murli to write to him, murli@aceworldfoundation.com. And he's also very kindly provided his phone number. So feel free to reach out to him. He's always such a fount of wisdom and is full of inspiration. Please read our career coach column on CanadianImmigrant.ca. He has some wonderful tips to share as well. So we're going to wrap up the presentation for now. Thank you, Murli, for this excellent presentation and all the advice that you've provided today. And thanks to our sponsors for supporting this webinar, especially to Access Employment, and to our speakers, Jamoya and Murli, for your information, knowledge, and sharing your expertise. If you've missed anything, this web conference is being posted on our website for you to rewatch. You can also share it with your friends. If you have any questions, you can email us at info@canadianimmigrant.ca You can also search our website. Just put in a keyword if there's a specific topic or article you're looking for. And as I mentioned, our speakers have very kindly shared their contact information. One last thing to add, if you are in Vancouver, don't miss our upcoming Vancouver Canadian Immigrant Fair happening on October 26th. And if you are in Mississauga, we have a fair coming up on November 9th. So you can find the details at canadianimmigrant.ca/career fair. Okay, folks, thank you so much. This has been a wonderful session with the two wonderful speakers. I thank you again for joining us. Have a great day.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.